Hello there! I'm providing this quick tutorial for individuals who want to learn the basics in black ink. At my first launch of black ink, my workspace looks like this. You can hide the stacked panels at any time using the shortcuts Ctrl left arrow, curl right arrow, or curl down arrow. These are really handy shortcuts to make space on your workspace. I can start on the canvas created by default. This document is twice the size of my view. To set the size I want, I go to the main menu file and select New. Then I change the size directly in the canvas preview like this, or by entering values on the left. Be careful not to make your image too large if it's not needed. Avoid my example. I ended up with an estimated image weight of 454 megabytes. As I walk you through all the options, I also change the background color. Finally, by clicking on OK, I validate the creation of my new document. I can start drawing. But before that, how do I choose my brushes? At the top right, you have your favorite brushes. You can select the brush you want directly by clicking on it. You see the preview of the brush that changes in the tool parameters when I click on it. You can also right-click on the slot to switch from one assigned brush to another for the same slot. You can also use the 1 shortcut for slot 1, but if you hold 1, you'll have the brushes from slot 1 displayed in the view, allowing you to select the one you want. The same process applies to slots 1 through 5. For brush selection, you can go through the brush manager, but I'll show you later. Before drawing, I change the color of my brush using the color palette. Then I start a simple sketch in the main view. To erase while keeping the same brush appearance, I hold down the E key. However, if I want to use the default eraser, I press E. I can switch back to my brush by pressing B. Now I'm using my secondary view where I apply the mirror of the view by using the shortcut F. The icon becomes active. This feature is very useful to ensure the balance of the drawing. Remember to save your drawing by going to the main menu, File, Save As. You can rename My Document to another file name. Choose the proprietary format of black ink, the BKD. Then, click on Save. Now, let's explore how to draw on layers. To paint beneath my stroke, I create a new layer in the layer editor. Initially, this new layer is positioned above the current layer. You can see the layer preview surrounded by small white brackets. If I wish to move the layer down in the stack, I can easily do so by dragging and dropping it. Then I choose a different color from my Global Colors palette and paint in my secondary viewport with the constant screen brush size enabled for a quicker process. When I draw, I use some other important shortcuts. I hold the Alt key to use the eyedropper and pick a color for my drawing. And if I want to change the size of my brush, I hold down the S key and move my cursor. If I had pressed D, it would change the opacity of my brush. Of course, you can rename your layers. Double-click on the name, rename, and then validate with Enter. I create a new layer and draw again. How do you navigate within your drawing? For example, by holding down the R key, I can modify the orientation of my view. By holding down the space key, it will be a pan of my view. By pressing Ctrl 0, my drawing will be zoomed and centered on my view. And by pressing Ctrl 1, my zoom will be set to 100%. Let's change the brush using the brush manager. I quickly explore by navigating through the tree where you can find different types of brushes. For example, the brushes in Filling are specifically designed for filling a selection or the canvas. Now, what interests me is to draw an area under my bird. So I go to Drawing, Ink, and select the Free Fill brush. Now I can draw my area. All right, I have my basic sketch. I'm going to refine it, revisiting everything I've shown before, creating a layer, reordering it in the stack, selecting a brush in the brush manager, picking a color by pressing Alt, and drawing. Okay, there's a handy option regarding layers. You can hide them by clicking on the eye icon and show them again by pressing the empty square next to the preview. Great! Often in a drawing, you may want to resize your canvas to crop your artwork. To do this, I select the crop tool and I resize the frame by stretching the sides. Perfect! Once it looks good, I validate. Then I remember to save my drawing. In this case, I want to remove the tail of my bird. Since it's present in different layers, it's more efficient to use selection than the eraser. So, I choose the Lasso Select tool, draw around the area of interest on the layer I want, and delete by pressing Delete. I move to the other layer and repeat the process and press on Delete again. To deselect everything, I can click on the indicated icon in Parameters or use Ctrl-D. Then, I return to the layer I named Feather and refine my drawing. As usual, I like using my secondary view for quick adjustments since I make smaller strokes with my constant view size. Thank you for your attention. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Feel free to share your feedback or suggest any topics you'd like to see in future videos. See you soon!